In our last sessions, I explained different topics like what is meant by Android, how to set up the Android environment, what are the features of Android, what are the major components of Android, and all the things. So in this session, when you create a single project, let us take, I created a project with the name Hello World. In our last session, we discussed when you create a single project, let us take the project name is Hello World. So if you create a single project, it will create a lot of subfolders inside this project. Okay, the first folder name is src. So next, the second folder is gen. Next, bin, libs, assets, resource. In resource folder again, you will get a lot of subfolders like drawable, layout, values, menu. Like this you will get a lot of subfolders. So after this you will get an important file called manifest.xml file. So if you create a single project, in the project you will get all these folders: src, gen, bin, libs, assets, resource, and manifest.xml file. So in our last session we created one sample project. The project name is Hello World. Okay, so in the Hello World project, all these are the directories. So now we will discuss why these many directories for a single project, what each directory consists. We will discuss. So a lot of times I explained, for every single screen in Android we need two files. The two files are, one is a Java file and XML file. For every single screen in Android we need two files. The two files are, one is a Java file and XML file. So Java file is called as activity, XML file is called as layout. For every screen we need two files, one Java file and one XML file. So Java file is going to locate inside the Java file is called as activity, XML file is called as layout. So here in the project structure, all the Java files are going to locate inside the src folder. This is the first one. So Android applications, we are developing Android applications by using Java programming language. So here all the Java files are going to locate inside the src folder. Next, so all the XML files are going to locate inside the resource folder. There is a folder called layout. So here in this layout folder, all the XML files are going to locate inside the layout folder. Layout XML files. Okay, I'm saying all the layout XML files are going to locate inside the resource folder, layout folder. Next, so this is the src and inside the resource layout folder. The next folder name is generated folder. In the gen folder you will get a file called r.java. You will get a file called r.java. It's very important. A lot of interviews, the interviewer will ask a question like, what is mean by r.java? What is the need of r.java? So here r.java is termed as resource. R is termed as resource, meaning it is going to, R is termed as a resource. Okay, let us take here, I explained for every single screen we need two files, one Java file and one XML file. Let us take, this is the Java file, this is the Java file, and this is the XML file. So by using XML only we can create the user interface components. Let us take, only you can create a button with the help of XML, or only can create different UI components are there, only you can create the UI components with the help of XML. Let us take the button example. You can create a button with the help of XML, but once if you click the button, if you want to perform any action, so that logic you cannot write in the XML. Definitely you need to write the logic in a Java. Let us take my button text is submit. Submit is the button. So once if you click the submit button, I want to perform some action. So that part, that action logic, you need to write in a Java code. So my question is here, how to get this button component into Java code? How to get the button component into Java code. This button is created in the XML. If you want to configure the action, that logic you need to write in a Java file. My question is how to get the button component into a Java file. Let us take in your application, if you have any images or icons, let us take the application icons. The icons we are going to put inside the drawable folder. The icons we are going to put inside the drawable folder. Let us take the image name is icon.png. The image is available in the drawable folder. Let us take. Okay, and inside the resource folder, generally audio files and video files we are going to create on folder called raw. Inside this raw folder, I'll insert a file called test.mp3. Now the requirement is, from my Java code, I want to get a file into my Java code. I want to get this mp3 file into my Java code. I want to get this image into my Java code. I want to get this XML file into Java code. And I want to get this UI component into Java code. The answer for all these questions is with the help of r.java. So r.java is an abstraction between, it's a middle layer between different resources. A resource may be anything. It's a XML file, or it's a UI component, it's a PDF file, any resource which is available in the resource folder and the Java code. It's a middle layer, it's abstraction between the Java file and different resources. It may be an XML file, it may be a PDF file, it may be an audio file or anything. If you want to get the resource which is available in the resource folder, to get this resource component into Java code, so we are going to get the component with the help of r.java. We'll get the component into Java code with the help of r.java. So here r.java is an abstraction between the Java file and different resources which are available in the resource folder. Okay, not only a resource may be anything, it's an XML file or a PDF file or an audio file or anything. If you want to get the resource into your Java code, you can get the resource with the help of r.java. You can get this component. For example, if you want to get this button component into your Java code, you need to specify an ID for this one. Let us take the ID for this button is B1. Let us take, if you want to get this button component into your Java code, let us call r.id.b1. So here in the drawable folder, I have an image called icon.png. If you want to get this image component into your Java code, R is termed as resource, what is the folder name? Drawable.r.drawable. Call the file name. You can get the image component into your Java code. Let us take in the raw folder, there is a file called test.mp3. If you want to get this component into your Java code, r.raw.test. So like here, r.java is an abstraction between the Java file and different resources from the resource folder, or it may be a UI component. So where this r.java file is going to be generated. So in the generated folder, this r.java file is going to be generated. Okay, and who will generate this r.java file? Eclipse IDE automatically generates this r.java file. And one more thing, for every resource, it may be XML file or PDF file, for every resource which is available in the resource folder, it will create one static integer field in r.java. For every resource, it will create one static integer field in r.java. I'll recall once again what is in by r.java. R.java is an abstraction between the Java file and different resources from the resource folder. Okay, next, Eclipse IDE automatically generates the r.java file. For every resource, it will create one static integer field in r.java. Practically, we will see we'll open the generated folder and we'll see what r.java consists. Okay, so we'll see the r.java file. So in our last session, we created one sample project called Hello World project. Observe, in the Hello World project, all these are the directories. So r.java file is generated in the generated folder. In the generated folder, you will get a file called r.java. So this is r.java file. So r.java is an abstraction between the Java file and different resources. Eclipse IDE automatically generates the r.java file. If you want to observe, let us remove this r.java file. I am removing this r.java, but automatically you will get this r.java file. Automatically you will get the r.java file. Eclipse IDE automatically generates r.java file. And one more point I explained, for every resource in the resource folder, it will create one static integer field in r.java. Observe, in the resource folder, layout folder, there is a file called activity_main.xml. For this one, observe, in the r.java, it will create a static integer field. So R is a class. For every folder inside the resource folder, it will create one static inner class. So here, this is a static inner class, public static final class. Layout is the inner class. Inside the inner class, for every resource, it will create one static integer field. Observe, for this activity_main.xml, it is created on static integer field, public static final int activity_main. Observe, in the drawable folder, there is a file called IC launcher. What is the file name? IC launcher. For this image, in the resource folder, in the r.java, it will create one static integer field, public static final int IC launcher. For every resource in the resource folder, it will create one static integer field. It will create one static integer field in r.java. Okay, so I'll recall once again the points. r.java is an abstraction between the Java file and different resources. A resource may be a UI component, it may be XML file, it may be a PDF file which is available in the resource folder. Eclipse IDE automatically generates the r.java file, and for every resource in the resource folder, it will create one static integer field in r.java. Remember this point, why I am stressing this point. For every resource, it will create one static integer field in r.java. This is about r.java. In the generated folder, you will get r.java file. Okay, and the next one is bin folder. In the bin folder, you will get one important file called apk file. You will get a file called apk. So all these are the very important questions in the interviews. What is meant by r.java and what is meant by apk? So here in the bin folder, you will get one file called .apk. So what is meant by .apk? .apk is termed as Android application package, which is the installation file in Android platform. Recall once again, .apk is termed as Android application package, which is the installation file in Android platform. Let us take, in case of PC, if you want to install any software, the software extension should be .exe. Same like .exe, in Android platform, if you want to install any application, that application extension should be .apk. So .apk is termed as Android application package, which is the installation file in Android platform. That is the definition. And what apk consists? What apk consists? So apk consists of .dx, the resource folder, assets folder, lib, and manifest.xml. apk is termed as Android application package, which is the installation file in Android platform. apk consists of .dx, resource, assets, lib, and manifest.xml file. One more definition for an apk is .dx, resource, assets, lib, manifest.xml file all are combined together into a single file with the extension .apk. All are combined together into a single file with the extension .apk. So .apk is the installation file in Android platform. What is the guarantee? I am not the author of, I am not the founder of Android. Just I given a point, .apk consists of all these things. Okay, so I'll show you really. We'll download an APK file. I'll download an APK file from the net, and I'll extract that APK file. We'll extract that APK file, and we'll see really the APK file consists of all these things or not. Okay, we'll see that one. So I already downloaded one APK file, which is the most popular game, Angry Birds. I already downloaded an APK file called Angry Birds game APK file. So which is available. I copied in my D drive. There is a file. This is a file name, angrybirds.apk file. Okay, we'll extract this APK file and we'll see what APK file consists. Okay, so if you want to extract the APK file, first you need to rename this .apk file to a .zip file or rar file. So copy this one, copy the location where the APK file is available, and go to the command prompt. Okay, start the command prompt. Directly you can rename here, rename the .apk file to either zip or rar. So I renamed the APK file name to .rar. Yes. So the APK file is renamed to .rar file. Zip file you can make. Okay. So now you can extract this rar file also. You can extract this rar file. Extract to Angry Birds. Once again I explain. Just I downloaded one sample APK file. I renamed the .apk to .rar file. With the help of WinRAR software, I extracted that rar file. So this is Angry Birds APK folder. Open the APK folder and see what APK file consists. What APK file consists? DX. All the Java files are going to be converted into a single file with the extension .dx, manifest.xml, resource, lib, assets. Okay, so I explained .apk is termed as Android application package, which is the installation file in Android platform. So .apk consists of assets, lib, resource, manifest.xml file and .dex. Okay, so this is the definition. This is the definition and the definition of APK file, and practically we seen what APK file consists. We downloaded an APK file, we extracted the APK file, and practically we seen what APK file consists. So I explain once again. .apk is termed as Android application package, which is the installation file in Android platform, which consists of .dx, resource, assets, lib and manifest.xml file. To justify this one, we already downloaded an APK file, we extracted the APK file, and we seen practically what APK file consists. Okay, and the next one is libs. So libs, in the libs folder, we'll put the files called .jar files. In the libs folder, we'll put the .jar files. Why you need to put the jar files into libs folder? Okay, I'll explain you one simple example. Let us take, in my application, I want to work with, let us take Google Maps or Google Places or Cocoa Studio. There's some lot of third-party libraries are there. Let us take Google Maps is not part of Android. Google Maps is not a part of Android. If you want to integrate Google Maps in your application, we need to add one jar file called google-maps.jar. If you want to integrate Google Maps in your application, we need to add one jar file called google-maps.jar. If you want to work with Cocoa Studio, there is a jar file called android_cocoastudio.jar. So these are the third-party libraries. These are the third-party libraries which are not available in Android. Okay, so if you want to integrate Google Maps in your application, so you need to copy this jar file. Put the jar file into the libs folder. If you want to work with Cocoa Studio in your application, so add this android-cocoa studio jar file into the libs folder. Next, what is the assets folder? This is about lib. So I'll explain once again. In the Android application, if you want to take any third-party support, that third-party people is going to provide you a jar file. Where you need to put the jar file? Inside the libs folder. Okay. Next, assets. We'll discuss these assets and resource. Assets and resource both are same, which is used to hold the resources in the application. Okay. Assets and resources both are same, which is used to hold the resources in the application. In your application, if you have any resources like the images, audio files or PDF files or text files, in your application, if you have any resources, put the resources into either resource folder or assets folder. I'll tell you once again. In the application, if you have any resources like audio file, PDF file, text file, XML file, put the resources into either into the assets folder or either into the resource folder. If both are for the same requirement, then why you need two separate folders? I explained both are for the same requirement, which is used to hold the resources in your application. So my question is, if both are for the same requirement, why you need two separate folders? Why you need assets folder and why you need resource folder? Let us take, so we downloaded an APK file and we already extracted the APK file. We already downloaded one APK file and we extracted the APK file. APK file name is Angry Birds. So open the APK file and see what APK file consists and what resource file consists. Observe in the resource folder, so nothing, just a small amount of data, just only you will get the application icon. Okay. So open the same thing in assets folder. N number of files. Each folder is having again the n number of files levels, number of folders. If you open each folder is having some files. Like this, you are having a number of folders. If you observe the same thing in the resource folder, only you will get a small amount of data. A small amount of data. So here, just to hold the data, there are two options are there. You can go for XML or you can go for resource folder or you can go for assets folder. My question is, here if you take this example, Angry Birds example, they copied the resources, maximum they copied the resources into the assets folder. They are not copied the resources into the resource folder, because if you put a file into the resource folder, for every resource it will create a static integer field in r.java. When you are discussing about r.java, I stressed on point, for every resource in the resource folder, it will create one static integer field in r.java. Creation of integer field means what? In case of Java, for every integer field, it is going to occupy 4 bytes of space. For every resource, it is going to occupy how much space? 4 bytes of space. Let us take, in my application, there are 25,000 images are there, meaning 25,000 resources. If you put these 25,000 resources into the resource folder, for every resource it will create a static field. So meaning it is going to occupy 1 lakh bytes. It is going to occupy 1 lakh bytes if you put a file into the resource folder. In case of mobile applications, each and every byte is important, but here unnecessarily it is creating 1 lakh bytes. There is no use with this one. Just to get the component into your Java code, just to get the support of r.java, unnecessarily it is creating 1 lakh bytes. To avoid that memory wastage, put the files into assets folder. If you put a file into assets folder, you will not get support of r.java. We will not get support of r.java. There is a class called assets manager. There is a class called assets manager. With the help of assets manager class, we can get the component into Java code. I will explain once again. The main difference between the resource folder and assets folder is both are for the same requirement, which are used to hold the data in the application. But if you put a file into the resource folder, for every resource it will create one static integer field in art.java. So if you put a resource into the resource folder, unnecessary memory wastage. To avoid that memory wastage, and one more thing, you will get the component with the help of art.java. But if you put a file into the assets folder, it will not create any static integer field. So there is no chance of memory wastage, and you can get the component into your Java code with the help of assets manager class. Okay, so this is the difference between the assets folder and resource folder. This is also one of the important question in the interviews. They will ask what is the difference between the resource folder and assets folder. If both are for the same requirement, then why you need two folders? Okay, for effective memory management, put the files into the assets folder. To avoid the memory wastage, put the files into assets folder, not in the resource folder. And the last one is manifest.xml file. And the last file is manifest.xml file. Manifest.xml file gives the complete description about the project. I'll explain once again. Manifest.xml file gives the complete description about the project. The complete description in the sense, what is the package name, what is the version of your application, what is the application icon, how many activities are there, how many services are there, what are the permissions, everything you are going to specify your application in the manifest.xml file. Android platform, before going to install your application and before going to start your application, it is going to read the manifest.xml file. I'll recall once again. The manifest.xml file gives the complete description about the project. Okay, what the complete description in the sense, what is the package name, what is the application name, what is the version of the application, how many activities, how many services, everything they are going to specify in one file. That file name is nothing but manifest.xml file. Android platform, before going to start the application and before going to read the application, before going to start the application and before going to install the application, so first it is going to install, first it is going to read a file called manifest.xml file. So this is the directory structure of Android. When you create a single project, it will create these many directories. Okay, so each directory is having some important files. Okay, so here you will get a lot of important interview questions like what is in by art.java, what is in by apk, what is the difference between the resource and assets folder, what is in by manifest.xml file. These are the very, very important questions in the interviews. Okay, so this is Android project directory structure. So in our next session, we'll discuss for every screen we need two files, one Java file and one XML file. Java file is called as activity, XML file is called as layout. So in our next session, so we'll discuss what XML file consists, how to create an XML file, and what Java file consists, and how to create the Java file. We'll discuss in the next sessions. Thank you.